In the news tonight, Fiji to play for Olympic Sevens gold tonight. Bulitavu stands by his action. And budget debate heats up in Parliament.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nunn.
Wulawinaka, Fiji. Fiji is through to the final of the Rugby Sevens at the Tokyo Olympics. The side will face rivals New Zealand at 9 p.m. For many, amidst this current COVID crisis, this match will, for at least 14 minutes, stop our nation and unite us, like rugby has always done. And this started earlier today as fans in Fiji cheered within their bubble as the national side played Argentina in the Tokyo Olympic Games semi-final. It was a different story this time around compared to 2016 when fans moved freely and even had to watch on the big screen at the ANZ Stadium in Suva. However, today the feeling was the same for thousands of fans.
From the young to the old, and even our fans in overseas, it was all the same.
Personally speaking, Fiji team has a slow start out of gate, but their momentum is peaking at the right time.
It's a good game. I think they can do much better in the final with New Zealand today.
They played well compared to last night quarterfinal. I'm hoping they get them better.
I think the game was good and they did some improvement there. So next game will be much more better.
Now all Fijians will wait for the final at 9 p.m. to pick up where they left off. This group from Canada came together to cheer on the team, but not without the national drink.
I have faith in my team, and let's win gold for the people of Fiji during this hard time.
Whether you're in Fiji or abroad, our lives will all come to a standstill at 9 tonight. Aquila Vama, FBC Sports.
Opposition Member of Parliament and Sodelpa Party member Moses Bulitavu has reiterated that he stands by his decision to support the proposed amendments to the Itoke Land Trust Bill or Bill 17. Eleanor Turangaivi reports this is not the first time Bulitavu has broken rank in Parliament, but this time around his stance has landed him in hot water with a formal complaint now filed against him.
Opposition Member of Parliament and Sodelpa Party member Moses Bulitavu says there is a lot of misconception about Bill 17.
This bill amendment, it's just between the tenant and the bank. Nothing to do with TLTB, nothing to do with native land, and also the rights of the landowners to erode. There's nothing to such effect.
His stance drew comments from Sodelpa Party leader William Ngavoka that it may be a sign Bulitavu wants to jump ship and join Fiji First Party.
The response by the Sodelpa Party leader was uncalled for because he did not listen to the content and the rationale of my speech.
Bulitavu is now awaiting a party decision on a formal complaint lodged against him to the opposition whip Linda Tambuya on the alleged breach of party rules.
And I will be notified in writing or by email on what the steps are and also my side of the story.
Asked whether his stance will affect his future with Sodelpa, this is what Bulitavu says.
It will depend on the party, whether the ball is in their court now. I've said my take, and whether they see me as a liability or whether they see me as an asset or as a threat. But again, as I've said my views.
According to Bulitavu, landowners should back Bill 17 as it supports land development, innovation and entrepreneurship. Eleanor Turangaivi, FBC News.
Speaker of Parliament Ratuipeli Nailatikau has rejected 3 petitions against the Itoke Land Trust Amendment Bill, saying the only way to defeat the bill is to vote against it in Parliament. Petitions were filed by Sodelpa leader William Ngavoka, opposition whip Linda Tambuya and MP Chese Saukuru, calling for Bill 17 to be withdrawn.
Take your seat.
Ratuipeli has informed the House that the bill was introduced along with the budget on July 16th, and a majority of MPs voted in favor of considering the amendment without delay, meaning it could be debated in Parliament.
Members of Parliament cannot use the submission of a petition under Standing Orders 37 to withdraw Bill number 17 of 2021 from Parliament and frustrate a process that has already been agreed to by Parliament. This will clearly be an abuse of parliamentary process.
And it's unfortunate that the opposition grabbed the bill and gave it an ethnic twist. It is an administrative matter, Mr. Speaker, sir, and should have never been given an ethnic twist.
The Speaker says the three petitions are out of order and will not be presented to Parliament. The opposition has to try and vote the bill out.
The standing orders do not provide for the Parliament or the Prime Minister to direct a member of Parliament to withdraw a bill that has been tabled by that member of Parliament. The standing orders are clear, and the only way to defeat a bill is to vote against the bill.
Is simply to streamline processes and ensure that people who want to use financing to invest and further develop leased Itaukea land can do so without seeking the process or going through this consent process, which will not affect anybody's rights.
Bill 17 will be debated on Friday. The opposition lacks the imagination to respond to the 2021-2022 national budget or the humility to agree to its merits. That's what Minister for Economy A.S. Syed Qayyum had to say in response to criticism of the new budget in and out of Parliament. Syed Qayyum also questioned why opposition parties have not presented an alternative budget.
They may understand in TikTok terms, they lost the plot.
Printing money is not the answer to solving Fiji's economic woes.
The government doesn't have the legal right to print money. In every country, including in Fiji, this is left in the independent hands of the central bank, the RBA in our case. We do not interfere with the decisions of independent institutions, in particular, the monetary policies that is governed and run by the Reserve Bank of Fiji.
Syed Qayyum points out that the government does not have the authority to tell the Reserve Bank to print more money, and if the central bank did so, there would be no free cash for the state.
Why aren't other countries doing it? Why didn't the Ratu Mara government do it? Why didn't the Rambuka, Chaudhry or Garase government print money in the manner as she understands and give it free to government? In fact, the RBF limits how much it can lend to government. There is no free money that can be created by printing money, Mr. Speaker, sir.
The minister maintains they are not about political point scoring, and the budget has been prepared with full consideration to Fiji's current situation. To our latest COVID-19 update, Fiji had 715 new COVID-19 infections for the period ending 8 a.m. yesterday. The Health Ministry also recorded 11 new COVID-19 deaths between the 22nd to the 27th of this month. Fiji has recorded 25,069 cases since April of this year. There are now 18,512 active cases in isolation, with 6,319 recoveries in total. The COVID-19 death toll stands at 206. The vaccination campaign also continues around the country. As of earlier today, 457,752 people, or 78% of the population, has received their first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. 111,541 people, or 19%, have received their second dose. The five most vaccinated areas include Mba and Rewa, which are 100% first jabbed. Next up are Nanonga, Naitasiri and Nandi. And Pravina Prakash of the Umbati after getting her vaccination. Up ahead, realignment at the Corrections Department. And market vendors hail announcement. Welcome back. The use of tents as isolation facilities and container refrigeration of bodies is not normal. However, this will pass if Fijians adhere to the public health safety measures. Minister for Health Dr. Ifiremi Wangainambete says Fijians need to get vaccinated so that the increasing numbers in deaths can be stopped. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Public Health Amendment Act came into place on the 12th of July, and Dr. Ifiremi Wangainambete says the Fiji Police Force has played a vital role in ensuring the measures are followed.
In the first week, the police team conducted 556 bookings. Of these, 245 bookings were related to face masks, 89 bookings were in relation to public service vehicles, and 69 bookings for gathering offences.
Minister for Health further highlighted that they are having dialogues in terms of securing vaccines for those below the age of 18.
Note that the European Union has made recommendations on this recently, and we are on track to have all the fully vaccinated age-eligible individuals and enough vaccines to be able to reach out to our children less than 18 years old when that guidance comes through.
The Assistant Minister for Health has urged Fijians above the age of 18 to get vaccinated to support frontliners in the fight against COVID-19.
I plead with all of you who are sitting on the fence, still trying to make up your minds, to please think of your children, your family, your community, your workmates, and your country by getting your vaccination.
The Ministry of Health and Medical Services has been allocated $403 million to beef up its resources. $25 million is specifically dedicated for COVID-19 response. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The government is realigning various positions at the Fiji Corrections Service. This was confirmed by Minister for Economy Syed Qayyum following questions in Parliament by opposition MPs based on the increase in the allocation for established staff. Sanyani Boila reports.
Opposition MP Aseri Ronro today questioned the increase in allocation for established staff from $5,712.90 to $7,184.
There is an increase in allocation of about 1.5 million. So can we just get a clarification? Does this mean there'll be more recruitments, or why is this increase there?
Syed Qayyum says the Fiji Corrections Services will be restructuring its staff this financial year, resulting in the increase.
Realigning all the different positions to the right amounts that needed to be paid. We had environments taking place before, so this is the actual specific amount that's required in respect of all the different staff that are already hired.
Syed Qayyum says the number of positions remains. It's the overdue allowance payments that will be made.
The right amount was not reflected, so we've gone through a fairly long and arduous process. This takes into account all the exact positions, the allowances that need to be paid.
The Fiji Corrections Service is allocated $36.5 million this financial year. Sainiani Boila, FBC News.
The Republic of the Fiji Military Forces will continue with its infrastructure upgrades. While responding to questions from the opposition, Defence Minister Inia Serwiratu says this as the RFMF facilities are being used to support the Health Ministry. Sanyani Boila again.
$250,000 has been allocated for the renovation and upgrade of the RFMF infrastructure, and another $250,000 for the RFMF quarters and barracks. Opposition MP Bilyame Ngawoka says this is not the right time, as more is needed to fight the pandemic.
At a time like this, when we need to put money in the hands of people, why are we carrying out these projects? These are low priorities in our eyes, Honourable Chair.
Seriratu says the maintenance is crucial now more than ever.
Maintenance programs need to be continued. Facilities are currently being utilized to support CWM Hospital. So this is why such maintenance works are so essential, Mr. Speaker.
The Republic of the Fiji Military Forces has been allocated a total of $79.7 million for this fiscal year. Sainiani Boila, FBC News.
Market vendors in Nandi and Lautoka say they'll be able to save a few dollars from next month as toll fees will be waived for a year. With business being stagnant for many vendors during the past few months, the waiver of fees means a lot to many of them during the pandemic. Felipe Nekaso with more.
Vendors at the Namaka market have stated that it's a huge assistance to them, as many are even struggling to sell their produce.
will save a lot of money. Actually, for me, I'm using 12 tables, $12 a day, means I'm going to save a lot of money in this hard time.
With stalls now free, a few vendors that had stopped selling at the Namaka market as they were not able to pay for their tables will now be able to come back.
Our market vendors around the country will be assisted with the waiver of stall fees, providing relief to vendors around Fiji. An allocation of 2.6 million will reduce the operational cost and put more money in their pockets.
However, the Lautoka vendors have had a mixed reaction towards the assistance. While some are happy with the decision, others are still willing to pay for their stall fees.
When stall fees are waived, you can see the amount of people that come into the market to sell. So there will be very strong competition. So there will be not much changes.
Through this initiative, the cost burden has been removed, providing much needed relief to Fijians. Philip and Ikaso, FBC News.
Coming up in world news, officers tell of Capitol Hill riots. And later in sports, more from the Olympics. Fifty businesses took part in the food labelling webinar for the Australian market. The webinar, hosted by Investment Fiji, was to assist participants and exporters on regular export requirements as part of its trade development program. Kritika Kumar reports.
The food labelling webinar aimed to assist businesses to capture the information required for export to Australia, especially in the food sector.
Products coming into Australia, they have to go through, they'll go through quarantine. And there's the imported food inspection program, and labelling will be looked at, and if there are some things that aren't correct, the food will not necessarily get through.
Key points such as ingredients list required for most food sold at retail level, inclusion of pictures on the label, country of origin, meeting stringent nutritional requirements and date marking were discussed. Investment Fiji Acting Chief Executive Kamal Chetty says the e-trade expos, online exporter guides and trade development programs are currently underway to market Fijian exporters and their products overseas.
In terms of exporting, the rules and regulations. So this is one of the programs we've launched, and it's going to guide you through that process. We're also running virtual expos per market, per countries. We are coming up with one for US market. We did for Australia and New Zealand already. So if you want to be part of this expo, so promoting Fijian products overseas, you can always get in touch with us.
Fiji's top agricultural exports to Australia are taro, kava, turmeric, coconut and mix of vegetables. Fiji exported $249 million worth of goods to Australia last year. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The much anticipated Naui Island project in Savu Savu is expected to be complete next year. General Hathaway Holdings Limited, a global hospitality investment business, is now the lead and majority investor in Naui Island Limited. The company plans to make over $20 million in equity investment from this month to finish the project. The project consists of three freehold islands, an 11-acre dry dock property and a mainland arrival jetty. The three freehold islands create a horseshoe-shaped basin where the development of an international cyclone-rated marina with capacity to accommodate super yachts and yachts will be situated. And here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning. The Fiji dollar took a different turn today as it rose against the Chinese yuan and our two major trading partners, the Aussie and Kiwi dollars, but slipped against the other international currencies we cover. On the commodities market, crude oil rose again today to end the day at $72 a barrel. Gold rose close to $1,801 per ounce, and silver continues on a downward spiral with $24.71 an ounce. And time now for Sharon to give us the latest on the markets.
Good evening. In the latest news, Australia's consumer prices rose at the fastest annual pace in almost 13 years. Data released today showed their headline CPI rose 0.8% in the June quarter, coming in just above market expectations of a 0.7% increase. Annual inflation for the June 2021 quarter increased to 3.8%, following a rise of 1.1% in the March quarter. The US dollar fell despite a generalized dismal mood. Global stocks edged lower while demand for government bonds increased, pushing yields lower. US data this morning was mixed. Their June durable goods orders were up 0.8%, being much worse than the 2.1% expected. On a positive note, their consumer confidence improved to 129.1 from an upwardly revised 128.9 in June. Market players remain cautious ahead of the US Federal Reserve decision on monetary policy tomorrow. Although the US Central Bank isn't expected to make any policy changes, equity markets would be looking out for any positive indications from the policymakers to tighten the grips. And we will wait to see how that sets the tone for currencies tomorrow. But for now, that's all from your HFC Bank. Vinaka.
Over 7,000 recipients from different social welfare programs have been removed from the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation beneficiary list. Minister Mereseni Vuniwanga says this was after a recertification program to review all the recipients under the different schemes of the ministry, and they've noted that these recipients are not eligible. Vuniwanga says the new allocation in the 2021-2022 national budget will help the ministry continue to support eligible recipients.
To complement that, the Ministry's efforts in regularly reviewing case files to ensure that only eligible beneficiaries are actually receiving allowances, assure social welfare beneficiaries that their entitlements will not be affected in this new budget, is going towards other government programs that have the same aim of leaving no one behind during these trying times.
And coming up after the break, Boeing discloses crucial date. Stay with us. Welcome back. Boeing is the latest firm to disclose data on the emissions produced by the use of its products. Commercial jets delivered by Boeing last year will account on average for emissions equivalent to 1 million tons of carbon dioxide each over. And in Inspiring Fiji tonight, we go to Japan, where a small group of Fijian fans have been providing the lung power to our Sevens team. This includes our team from Fasanok. And let's have a look at this video captured by PAC News editor Makereta Kumai. An attorney for Britney Spears has asked a Los Angeles court to remove her father as a conservator of her roughly $60 million estate. This follows the pop singer's allegations that he had used the arrangement to mistreat her. Coming up in sports, proud parents guide Mangala. And New Zealand skipper plays for late mum. This and more coming up. First up in sports, the family of Fiji's 13th sevens player Sireli Mangala have sent an emotional and encouraging message to the young man in Japan. His parents reminded him of the task ahead and the support from home. Mangala has been a standout performer for Fiji at the Olympic Games, and even one of the 2016 gold medalists believes Fiji can do it again. Aquila Dama with the details.
This was the scene at Mangala's village in Burewai, Kortumbura today. His parents and family also put together this video and sent it to him to remind the youngster they are with him all the way.
Wishing you all the best, enjoy your game, be content. We are praying for you so you can achieve what you want to achieve at the Olympics.
The 22-year-old's dad says Mangala should always be obedient to his leaders.
Whatever you have achieved is through God alone. You have reached another level in your rugby career, and we as your family wish you well.
Also sending his well wishes from the south of France today was Masive Sindakuanga. We thank the boys that they improved in every game starting from the pool stages. That is a good sign as we prepare to feature in the final against New Zealand. Fiji will play New Zealand in the final at 9 tonight. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
An emotional New Zealand women's sevens skipper, Sarah Hirini, has revealed the personal challenges she's been facing in the lead-up to the Tokyo Olympics, opening up about the death of her much-loved mum. The opening ceremony flag bearer and Blackfern star admitted her mum's loss was still really raw. Team Fiji swimmer Taichi Vakasama finished fourth in the 200 meters breaststroke at the Tokyo Games last night. The Nandi swimmer clocked 1.05.78 seconds in Heat 1. Vakasama replaced Jerry Tuai as the male flag bearer in the opening ceremony last Friday. The Pacific Games swimming champion did not qualify for the semi-finals as only the top 16 ranked swimmers from the 5 heats make it through. Morocco's Younes Bala brought back memories of Mike Tyson's infamous ear bite on Evander Holyfield 24 years ago by attempting something similar during a boxing match at the Tokyo Games. Losing in the third and final round of his last 16 heavyweight clash with New Zealand's David Nyika, Bala moved in with his mouth open to the opponent's ear and appeared to attempt to bite it. Naomi Osaka, Japan's great hope for tennis gold, lost in the third round of the Tokyo Games yesterday. She says she had not known how to cope with the pressure of the occasion. In our play of the day, a thrilling encounter at the Olympics hockey yesterday. Japan and New Zealand fought out a 2-2 draw in heavy rain. This goal is our pick. In our quirky sport of the day, today we tell you about a sport that's close to volleyball but doesn't involve the same skill level. That's it from sports. Coming up, we have your weather. A trough of low pressure lies slow-moving over Fiji. The associated clouds and showers are expected to affect parts of the country until later today. To the west, humid with a blend of sun and clouds, breezy in the afternoon. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, cloudy showers in the morning, followed by occasional rain and a thunderstorm in the afternoon. In the north, mostly cloudy with occasional rain and a thunderstorm. Places we are checking out today are Suva, Lambasa and Nosori. All had high humidity. At sea, moderate to fresh easterly winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. The next high tide is at 9:56 p.m. with low tide at 3:55 tomorrow morning. Sunrise is at 6:35. For tomorrow, cloudy periods with some showers over Kandavu and nearby smaller islands, Lomaiviti and Lau Group, the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands. Elsewhere, fine weather apart from isolated afternoon or evening showers. The outlook for Friday, fine apart from isolated afternoon or evening showers elsewhere. And to our shot of the day, sent in by Ashish Kumar of Lautoka. And in Fijian Pulse, we ask, should Gareth Baber continue as coach of the Fiji side after the Olympics?
No, I don't think so, because he has been coaching for more than 4 years.
For me, it depends on if they win or lose for the final, or if they win, I think Gareth Baber should be the coach to be continued for next season. But if they lose, my answer is Gareth Baber should remove from the Fiji coach 7.
Yeah, I think so, because he's doing enough for the last few years. He can be given some another years for him to coach the Fiji 7 team.
A makeup artist is providing free eyebrow microblading to cancer survivors who've suffered hair loss. Each pass of her blade brings clients a hair closer to emotional recovery through their own restored confidence. And recapping our main stories, Fiji to play Olympic 7's gold tonight. Bulitavu stands by his action, and budget debate heats up in Parliament. For these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister station Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we are asking, should those spreading misinformation be charged? Visit our FBC News website to take part, and remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos, fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, or share it with us via our social media accounts. You can also download our FBC app to keep updated with the very latest in news and sports, and listen to our 6 radio stations live. That's your news this evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe. Modemanta.